If you knew that everything in that moment was there and around you, knowing exactly who you were and exactly where you were going, would you take the time to fully embrace that moment? This question and concept is beautifully executed in Rob Reiner's 1986 now known ultimate childhood nostalgia movie, Stand By Me. Originally based on the book The Body, written as one of four short stories in Stephen King's 1982 book Different Seasons, King was heavily inspired by his own personal childhood to influence the story. The writing and the authenticity of the childlike sense of adventure shines throughout the movie as the four main characters become our focal point that the story uses to tell its lessons. As the movie's tagline states, it's their last real taste of innocence and their first real taste of life.
Clay must have come along and I'll smacko.
Chris Chambers, played by the late River Phoenix, is the group's leader, displayed by his willingness to be the group's older brother and moral compass. Teddy Duchamp, played by Corey Feldman, is the group's high-energy crazy who shares the same dysfunctional emotional issues as his father, who was in World War II and left with trauma that would be put onto Teddy. Vern Teslo, played by Jerry O'Connell, is the clumsy, bumbly type who is universally accepted as the child of the group. However, it is by this childlike sense of personality that you learn to love him as the story progresses. Ace Merle, played by Kiefer Sutherland, is the standard neighborhood bully whose actions throughout the story leads our main group's actions and lessons from point A to B. And finally, not only the story's main character but narrator, Gordy LaChance, played by Will Wheaton, is the group's outcast. While he is Chris's best friend, he wants to grow up to be a writer, this being an obvious association to Stephen King. While the rest of the group has accepted that they will be subjected to the shop classes as they all begin junior high soon, Gordy realizes he doesn't feel the same way about the adventure as the others, told by a narration by his older self that is forever present as their weekend adventure turns into a life lesson that is something more and that they will never forget. Portrayed in the excellent cinematography provided by Thomas Del Ruth and editing by Robert Layton, long shots, extreme long shots, establishing, and master shots are used to portray a vast frontier and landscape that is around the kids at all times. They physically and visibly display the immense journey that the characters are facing and traveling through. Using bright colors on the land and darker colors of the sky helped bring a sense of unorthodox aesthetic that the kids would also be feeling at the time, as this new, big terrain would be abnormal from their previous limited perspective of the world around them. Contrasted to the shots of them in the woods, near water, and during arguments, are shots confined to medium close to close up shots that may be shearing back to the kid's small view of a black and white world. Colors usually displayed by the trees and shrubs of the surrounding forest often become darker even in daylight as heart to heart moments are dished out. Editing is noticeably very smooth, as there is no need for quick or smash cuts, as each scene is guided and transitioned into the next with ease that keeps the pace and continuity of the story in perfect shape. With all of this in mind, personally, I would have to give this movie an insight score of an 8.2 out of 10, as it will be worth countless rewatches as the years go on and our childhoods grow further away from us, but only if you count in years. You should watch this movie in its entirety, as this movie is one of, if not the only movie that can accurately portray the scenic and euphoric feeling that we as children felt as we are in the midst of our youth. Even though there is very strong language to a modern audience, it is clear to see that the group's actions and language is a product of the times that cements itself as a perfect 50s time capsule from the perspective of children and not other normalities of the time. With this in mind, every child from the ages of 10 to 15 should experience this movie at least once, as it will give them something to resonate with because they would also be in the same point of their lives as the main characters. With the insight score and high feats the movie is able to pull off, it will be placed at a high B to a low A on the top 100 tier list. As the series goes on, the list will be filled out more and movies have a chance to move spots. As you watch the movie, you may realize that you are remembering experiences from your own childhood that have shaped you to who you are today. The friends you had back then to the friends you have now. Do the friends you have now have the same influence on you like the ones you had when you were 12? Jesus, does anyone?